Yeah. Actually, now the situation in France in general, it's kind of it's very hard actually. Under the wave of it's under the wave of spreading coronavirus here in I'm so red in the video, right?
We're running.
Yeah, this is the light here is.
All right, so he's a refugee from Syria. I met him in Turkey some years ago. He came from the eastern Ghouta and fled to Turkey, where he was stuck when I met him there. But luckily, he got the opportunity to be resettled in France, where he is now. And I'll just show a few video here from when I met him in Turkey. Let's see. Try. And he's together here with Salem, which is another amazing Syrian guy that also were stuck until recently in Turkey due to the lockdown of the borders. Both of them are journalists that worked very intensely inside of Ghouta. Stories. There is actually a story on Refugee Today with Salem that I made after one of my visits to tell the story. He's a victim of torture as well. And that's one of the things that I've been working with for quite a while, addressing the torture of the Syrian regime against the Syrian people. So today, Firas is with us directly from France. I'll turn on the camera to Firas now. Firas, welcome. I'm really happy to have you here with us tonight. You are a young, aspiring, energetic guy, and you are fighting fiercely against the Syrian regime. Welcome to Let's Corona.
Thank you very much, Martin, for having me in this great conversation with you and with all the audience.
Yeah. Let's start out with the coronavirus, since it's a corona talk. In France, you have more than 45,000 victims or people that are infected with the virus. I think that the death toll is more than 3,000, and then you have several thousands that have recovered. But what is the situation in France? It's quite different from in Denmark. Can you tell about what are you allowed to and what's going on in France right now?
Yeah. Actually, now the situation in France in general, it's kind of it's very hard actually. Under the wave of spreading coronavirus here and everywhere. We can say that almost all the cities in France, they have been affected by coronavirus. And each day we have kind of the number of the victims who passed away from coronavirus. They are between 200, and now they passed 300 actually recently. So it's dramatic situation. And the people who are affected, they day by day. So France is the third European country is affected
the most.
It's one of the most. It's the third, the one of the most European country who were affected by coronavirus. Actually, Italy the first, Spain, then now France.
I think US US is the most infected now. But what restrictions do you have? Can you just go out and enjoy your time in the free, or how do they what restrictions do they have from the government towards the people living in France?
Not at all, actually. It's very strict. The law here is very strict. The law of lockdown and quarantine. We make or we have to fill a paper with 7 things to choose. We have only seven reasons to choose to get out from house for 1 hour per a day. So I have only the right to get outside of my house or my apartment for 1 hour each day, and only for 7 reasons that they have been written. And on this, we call it authorization for getting out of our residence. So it's very strict. And for the first time, if you were stopped or if there's checkpoint for police, so if you don't have this paper or you didn't make it or you don't have even the reason that make them believe that you are out, so you will pay 200 euros for the first time.
And the second time, what is the fine for?
It's getting more strict. Yeah, actually, I don't remember the second time, but I remember the third time. The third time, as I heard that there is a prison for 6 months, and there is over 3,000 euros to pay. So it's very strict. But actually, logically, I think people should make now the lockdown or the quarantine, because it's really catastrophic, the situation with spreading coronavirus over the country. And just to avoid being the epicenter in Europe, because now Italy is the epicenter of coronavirus in Europe, and it's very catastrophic situation there in Italy, according to friends that I contact every day there.
And we can't reveal your location in France because of your involvement in relation to Syria. Because you're on the Syrian list, and you can get there. Even I am on the list in Syria for the work that I've been doing in relation with you, with addressing the issue of tortures of victims of torture, and the situation in general. I've been very involved in Ghouta, where you also came from. But you were in France a few days ago. How was this before everything was shutting down, and then you quickly turned out to the countryside, or what was the situation in Paris?
In Paris, I was in Paris actually. Then just before the starting of the quarantine of the lockdown, I chose to move to the countryside because it's less complicated, you know, and the spread of coronavirus in countryside, it's way less. It's very it's not more than the cities like Paris, Lyon, west of France. It's the virus is in everywhere there, and especially the countryside of Paris, around Paris. It's there is an emergency situation. So it's
what are you doing with your time? What are you spending your time on? Since you can't go out only for 1 hour a day, at least in Denmark we can still go out. We just have to keep at a distance of 2 meters, not meeting more than 10 people. They might decrease it, but I saw you made a quite funny video a few days ago. From your home. Maybe I have the possibility of throwing it in there somewhere, or we can make a link for it afterwards so people can see your work.
Yeah.
But what do you do with your time?
Yeah, not a lot of things to do actually. Since I am in lockdown here in a room with 4 square meters, so here I'm using my time here learning French. Still learning French actually, I'm doing this kind of videos. I'm taking photos sometimes using my camera, taking some photos. Find anything around me to make kind of artistic photos, and also talking with friends outside, see how the situation. For example, I talk with my friends in Turkey. I talk my friends who are in Syria, especially in north of Syria there, how they are facing this wave of spreading the coronavirus in the air. And here now, it's just like this. I'm passing my time improving my language, improving the ideas that I have. Sometimes I open my archive, I watch the videos, I watch some ideas to do with, yeah, it's in general like this.
And you mentioned that you speak with the people in Syria. How is the situation? Because we don't get any information from there, and I know from Lebanon they are being very strict in terms of they're actually afraid that the virus will spread across the border from Syria. What are your friends in Syria saying right now in terms of the situation?
Yeah, actually the situation in Syria, it's now we can say it's kind of mixed dangerous, mix of danger. Actually, there is the danger of the bombardment from Assad regime, the danger from Russian bombardment, and there's the danger of coronavirus in everywhere. And especially coronavirus doesn't know who is pro Assad, who is pro regime. It's a virus who's spreading everywhere. So it's much complicated now, and there is not enough teams or crews to see or to make tests of coronavirus there. Actually, in general, I can tell you, in general, I have received recently a message from Douma, from inside of Douma city. People there are very tired of the regime, actually. After 5 years of bombing, siege and bombing and torturing, using chemical weapons, using all the weapons against them, and now they are occupied by the regime force. Now they are kind of hopeless with everything. The people who I'm talking now about, the people who are under the regime control, and they can't even open their mouth to complain about anything. Because the regime now is pretending to defend defend them from coronavirus or to protect them. As we saw, there was a Russian drone who filmed Damascus street empty because of, let's say, quarantine between quotations. But the regime was pretending to protect people today. He was killing them yesterday. So how we can trust in regime to protect the people who is killing them? These people are being tortured and killed by him every day, and how is gonna protect them? Sure. So this is why people there, they don't even think about coronavirus. I don't mean that they don't care. No, they care actually, and there are cases. We heard about cases there, but the problem that they can't peer anything anymore. It's just kind of it's a climax. It's the climax of torturing for them. So I always pray. I hope that it's getting better there.
It's another
it's
catastrophe on top of the whole war crisis and all of the sadness things that are going on anyways in Syria. One of the things that I'm thinking is since all of the coronavirus started spreading around the world, and also for a long time we haven't really been hearing about what's going on in Syria, and there we still have a pocket in Idlib which is being bombed every day. There is war acts every day, and I could fear that what would happen during this virus time, that Russia and Assad would take advantage of it and wipe out the rest of the people being in Idlib and take over this area. What do you think about this?
Yeah, actually there was bombing recently, and after of Saraqib, after they took it, And actually, today I've heard, I've read an article about the regime forces. They entered again Ma'arat Nu'man, it's under the control of the regime, but there are soldiers who entered the city again in the chaos of coronavirus. They entered the city and they still stealing from houses there. They are stealing what it rests in the destroyed houses there. There is kind of big chaos in the areas that they have been taken recently by the regime in north of Idlib, and not north of Idlib, in south of Idlib. And the regime forces are still stealing, and there are some kind of fire engagement there in the front lines between the opposition fighters and the regime fighters. But there is not really an operation now, and we don't expect that there will be a new military operation in this time now, because even the regime can't mobilize his soldiers with each other to make this fight. Even the militia that they are supporting him, like Hezbollah, the terrorists of Hezbollah, the other terrorist militias like Iranian militias, they already have coronavirus. They already afraid to get gathered to make a kind of group fighters or army to make any operation. So if there will be an operation, it will be by only bombardment. This is what I expect.
Do you know if there's any cases of corona within Idlib at the moment? Did anyone?
All what we hear, yeah, all what we hear, it's just we heard there is 2 cases, but officially we didn't hear any cases that they were registered. And actually the front line with the borders with Turkey, there's the borders, some gates on the borders where they were closed yesterday from the Syrian side.
Okay.
With Turkey. But we don't know anything actually. Maybe there are, but for me, I didn't receive anything about coronavirus cases in north of Syria.
Firas, you are a really skilled and very you've done quite some amazing work within Ghouta and during the wartime and the besiege of Ghouta. Right now, can you tell us something about your work? All of these photos that you've taken, I can, by the way, only recommend that people go and see the things that you've been doing. But you have a lot of exhibitions that are going around, especially in France, since you were got the opportunity to move with your family to France. And what's happening with your exhibitions now?
Yeah, thank you very much, Martin. Actually, I completed the exhibitions, series of exhibitions. Once I arrived in France, I arrived in 5 December 2018, and I started exposing the photos in Normandy, in Lisieux. That was in March 2019, and then in Lyon, and in Paris for 2 times in Paris, and also in cinemas in Normandy area.
So you've been showing some of your video recordings from the besieged Ghouta to address the whole situation and what was actually going on inside of Ghouta, right?
No, it was only photos that I took.
Okay.
But I explained a lot. We make kind of conference. We call it table round. It's our table around. It's kind of we talk about people. We answer their questions, and we explain the situation, how it was in Eastern Ghouta, and what's going on now on the ground in Idlib and north of Syria. So we use the time of gathering people in the exhibitions to talk about the present. We talk about the present much more than talking about what happened, because what happened, it's just happened. And actually, I always mention that what happened, it's not finished. We are not talking about the history, for example, of the Second World War. No, we are talking about something is happening. So what happened last year, it's still happening now. It's the same circle, the same scenario. It's still repeating itself with the same criminal Bashar al-Assad, who is Russian supported and making the same strategy with each region. And this is what I'm talking about with my great friends here who are helping me with this, actually, the association who are helping me with this exhibitions here in France. We just stopped our circulation in France for exhibition because of coronavirus. There was an exhibition. It was planned to be opened on 21 of March now in the city of Thaulow in Normandy. But actually, unfortunately, everything is just freezed. So it was closed for, we don't know, for unknown dates.
So
but we will continue.
Maybe, because I'm also exhibiting my work, and I was actually supposed to do a live performance in a theater. Another kind of, I wanted to break the rules of how we normally do an artist talk. And this performance is actually being moved online like we're doing now. So this is the next step, is we're going to make it all in the virtual space and cyberspace. So maybe you can take this exhibition and bring it online for us so we can see it there. Would that be a possibility?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I would like to.
I'd love to help you somehow if we can talk about that afterwards. It would be nice. Yeah, I think more people should see your work. It's so important that people get to see what really was going on and still are going on inside of Syria. As you said, the regime has been torturing, killing innocent civilian women, kids, and men. At large, and this is a catastrophe, and we tend to, I think, to some extent, people are tired of listening to the war acts and all of these horrific things going on. But nevertheless, I think it's so important that we keep on addressing the issue of Syria. And you are one of these guys that constantly drives towards bringing this attention to the situation in Syria, and I really want to applaud you for doing this great work. The first time I met you, I just felt your sparkle. Thank you. Your energy is amazing. So it was really nice.
It's a duty, actually. We have to do this. It's duty, because if a witness didn't say what he has seen, it's forbidden for us, actually, for me, for myself, to and for everyone who witnessed what happened, to stay in silence about what happened, actually, because we should talk. We must talk about what we have seen, what we have witnessed. We should talk. We must talk about this because it's very important.
True.
Yeah.
One of the things that I can add is one of the things that really last time I was in Jordan on the other side of Syria, and I met torture victims from Setnaya, and this completely destroyed my heart. It was the first time I was sitting down in a basement with this guy Hassan, and he had been tortured in more than 22 different ways. He was found in the pile of the dead. I spent all night in his damp and completely destroyed basement where he was living with his wife and kids. And I was crying in the morning when I got back to the hotel from the things that I heard. I didn't know the cruelty of human men, how cruel humans can be towards each other. And I know you've experienced this on first hand. You've seen how this brutal regime has been taking down people, friends, family. So keep on talking. It's so important. I think it's about time now to round up in this Corona talk, where there was luckily also a lot of talk about other things than this sad condition of the Corona. Is there anything you want to add to this conversation?
I just want to say to everyone who's watching us, and to you, Martin, take care of yourself. And it's another crisis. So it's another crisis. So personally, we were besieged, and now we are besieged. So there's kind of different stuff. But
maybe you can say something about this.
There is no bombing,
because you've tried to be in an actual, like, a war zone where the area you were living in was besieged, and now you're in another kind of besieged situation in France in your 4x4 square apartment. Can you compare this?
Yeah. Actually, in Eastern Ghouta, we were besieged, but we didn't. How can I say this? It's we were besieged, but we were free to choose when we get out from our houses and to see friends. We used to make kind of meeting, gathering. We get out together, we eat something, we play together, everything. We were free inside that siege. But now, and actually we were besieged by enemy that we know. We see the enemy, we saw it, we saw the bombardment, we saw everything. But here actually we are besieged by enemy that we don't know, the enemy that we only feel about it. So when you feel bad, you were bombed here. So this is the kind of siege here. We can't get out because it's in everywhere. It's something that you don't see. It's just kind of it's kind of ghost.
I truly hope the best for you and your amazing family. That I've also met some of your father and your siblings in Turkey. It's so nice to see you. I hope I get the opportunity to go to France and visit you at some point later this year or maybe next year. Who knows how long this Corona lockdown of the world is gonna last. But I can assure you, let's talk back and forth some more on online. It's a nice space to meet in when you can't go physically and meet. And then hope to see you. And take care, my friend.
Yeah, thank you very much. You too.
So if you just stay, I'm gonna put on some music and round it up and then say goodbye.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you too.